I'm here with Josef Haslinger, who's a professor of literary aesthetics at the University of Leipzig in Germany. Welcome, Josef.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you. And we're here to talk about your experience in 2004 in the big tsunami that struck a number of islands, including one that you were on at the time for Christmas, which was Phi Phi. So if you could perhaps just tell me a little bit about what initially happened. You were there. What happened to you when the tsunami hit the island?
Well, we were having breakfast, and we were the last breakfast guests, I suppose, in the restaurant. It was already 10 o'clock, and the waiters were sitting the next table starting their breakfast. So we went back to the hotel room. We had rented 2 bungalows of the Phi Phi Princess Hotel, and we were not realizing that the water was receding. Others we didn't. And then we went back to our bungalows, and suddenly there was noise outside. People were running. I didn't know that's a strange kind of jogging here, and I saw that people who were running there were wearing their hotel uniforms, and so these were not just some guests. This was very strange. I didn't know what's going on. Maybe someone was shouting to us we should run as well, because I was asking the children who lived next door in the next bungalow to come out. We have to run. So we followed these people and saw some water coming behind them. This was not even knee deep. It was not threatening at all. And Phi Phi Island is where our hotel was situated, is a very small isthmus, a very small land bridge, and the water came from the other side, from the other beach. It just swept over the island, and then the high wave came from our side. And we didn't see that because there were bungalows in front, but we were just following these people, and they ran to a staircase, that was to steps that went up to a concrete building that was a kind of administration building of our hotel. But the stairs were already crammed full with people, so we couldn't move anymore. We were stuck, and suddenly the water became very loud. There was a lot of noise also from the beach. You could hear the sound, the noise, and people screaming. And I turned around and suddenly saw the water coming between these bungalows. It slipped between these bungalows, and it was not like a high wave. It was like a wild water with a strong current and fast rising. So this just swept us away. We were washed away. This became higher and higher, and then suddenly we couldn't. I tried to get a grip on the balcony, or what it was, a handling of the stairway, but I couldn't stay there. So we just were washed away. This was my wife Edith and my children Sophie and Elias, twins, and they were 17 in those days. And the only one who could escape from the water at the very beginning with her own strength was Sophie, the daughter. She's the only one who could escape without major suffering. And we 3 others were just washed away. And all 3 of us, we thought that this is the end. There were moments when we were underwater, everyone had his separate struggle. But there were moments where we were underwater and mouth, and suddenly couldn't tell up from down anymore. At this moment I was gripped by the fear that I couldn't make it. And then came the clear thought, this is the end. This realization came as a shock, but it wasn't followed by despair. It was more like a kind of regret that I couldn't die some other way instead of perishing here in the muck. It was the feeling of an absolutely undignified end. By regret I mean a kind of melancholy parting gaze, because I had created a false image of life for myself. I had thought that it was about something. Now I saw myself becoming part of the filth that surrounded me. And I knew that in reality I had never been anything else. Then came the resolve to fight to the end. As long as you can move, I said to myself, you have to try to get out of here.
You returned to Thailand in order to
write this book.
To write the book.
Yes, in order to get over this experience, I actually had to return. I didn't know it first, but I couldn't write anymore. I couldn't write fiction anymore. There was something in me that this was the experience of the tsunami that said that tried to be turned into fiction. Always, whatever I began to write, there was always this tsunami experience, which said, but I have to be in the story. Yeah, I have to do. You put me in the story, do you? Yeah, so it was. I was blocked. I was completely blocked, and you cannot just put a tsunami in any story. This is. And then I spoke with my editor about this problem I have, and he said, well, you have to write just about the tsunami, how you experienced it. You have to write a report, not fiction. And I immediately understood that he is right, and so I went back to Thailand, to Koh Phi Phi. I said to my family that if someone wants to come with me, and no one did want to go back. And then I said, well, then I do it alone. And then my wife said, no, I don't want you to go alone, so I will come with you. So we were there for 14 days, and every morning we made our way to the site where we almost died, or thought that we have to die now. And from then on, we started to look around and speak with other people, how they survived, and spoke with others about the way they built it up again. And we met the hotel manager. The hotel was still destroyed, but the manager was here and told us how bad it was in the hotel, how, for example, in the kitchen of our hotel, there were people just trapped, because their only door was on the side where the tsunami came. It was blocked immediately, and all these people in the kitchen, the one cooking, preparing the meal for lunch, the others just doing the dishes of the breakfast, they were all trapped and they were drowned. So this was really a bad side of the story, and we had 14 days of mourning there, and all these people, most of them we didn't know. We had just this reception at the beginning of our stay, two days early. We only were there for 2 days, then the tsunami came. And we spoke with some people. Some of these people we spoke at the pool reception at the beginning were dead now. This was the Christmas reception. So it was something I obviously could only come into terms with when I write about. I did this, and this was really helpful. It was helpful for me, it was helpful for my family, and as it turned out, it was helpful for others too, for readers. I never, for no book, I got so many letters. They were sent to the publisher, and the publisher sent it to me, and most of these letters mostly they were letters from other tsunami survivors, and they were grateful that I wrote this book, and they also were encouraged to tell me their story, their surviving story. So some of these letters are very long, 10 pages or so, others are more short, but they always tell their story, how they survived.
So what was the most poignant memory that you have then of that time, of writing it, of the communications from other? Is there any particular memory that sticks out?
Yeah, this thing, I always thought I'm the tough guy, the strong guy, because my children and my wife, they had nightmares immediately after the tsunami when we came back to Austria. And I thought, now I'm the one in charge to bring everyone back to normal life, to take care that everyone gets a new passport and all that stuff. And I didn't have actually nightmares. I was busy. I was busy taking care of everything. But when I started to write the book, my nightmares began. I really had to get through it again. So, or at least not just get through it. First, it was like really experiencing it in a deliberate way, and not just it happened, just really re-experiencing it. And this was really for several months I had a bad time. But on the other hand side, that was the way to get over it, to leave it behind, to address it, and then you make it some part of your own past.
Do you feel that your book stands as a document of that time, along with, I'm sure has there been other literature, or obviously there's been accounts in newspaper, we live in a world of massive media. Do you feel that it stands as an account of that time?
It is some kind of, I would say, creative non-fiction. On the one hand side, it is a report, it is the memory, and it tries to, everything that's in the book, I was double-checking it. I was asking my wife and my children if they remember it the same way, or if they if they didn't remember it at all. I was very skeptical if it didn't make it up, because it turned out that my memory, 1 year later, it turned out that my memory is some kind of weird. It's not exact. I had completely different idea or different pictures in my mind. For example, this stairway where we tried to climb up, the stairway was very small in reality. Just two people can pass each other, and the terrace I had in mind in my memory was a huge terrace, it's place for everyone. In reality, it was a small veranda on the front side of the house. So you can trust your memory after traumatization. And I really tried to put this as straight as I could, as possible, and to research on it. But on the other hand side, I didn't want to hide that I'm a writer. Which means that I'm able to communicate with the reader about to present a special point of view, and to present a character, and to present feelings, and to let a reader participate in a story you write. So it's in some way it's a story. It's an adventure story. Yeah? Something you're heading out for paradise, Christmas paradise, island of the south, and then suddenly it turns into hell. So this is a story as well, in some way. And you can, if you read it, you can in some way re-experience it, and you can experience. So this is, I think, this is a different approach for a reader, because it's not just focusing how many people have died and focusing on as many deaths as possible. You know what media does, yeah. But as many deaths as possible and as disastrous as possible. It's focusing on a personal experience.